Hey guys, it's Devin with Devin's Dog Days, and today I am here with my adorable girl Maeve. She is a 5-month-old Kerry Blue Terrier, and today I am just going to be cleaning her up. I took her ears down yesterday and clipped her face a bit, but I'm going to be going back over that, and then at the end of the video, I am going to be putting those ears back up so that they're developing properly for her dog show career. So stay tuned, and I'm just going to go over the products, tools, and equipment that I like to use to keep her looking great. Before I get started with our video today, I just want to remind you guys to make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And if you love what you see here and you want to stay tuned on everything that's coming, make sure that you hop on over to our website, devinsdogdays.com, and subscribe to our mailing list. So to get started, I already bathed Maeve yesterday, so I just really ran a brush over her and fluffed her back up using a brush and a conditioning spray, Artero mix. And now I'm going to be using my Artero Spectra 4-in-1 blade that has a 10, 15, 30, and 40 adjustable blade. I'm also going to be using 4 shears, so I'm going to be using a straight, a curve, a pair of thinners, and a pair of blenders or chunkers. I'm also going to be using, of course, a really good comb and a scissoring spray just to make sure that I'm getting a really nice finish and none of the hair is sticking back to itself. So yesterday I took down her ears. They were glued. And the way that I like to do it to make sure that I'm safe is I just make sure that I can get a hold on that tip of the ear if I can. And I'll either try to come up from the back, angling my clipper with the grain of the ear, or if I need to, I go in reverse. If you have your blade set to a short length, like a 30, you shouldn't have to worry about nicking them, but we work with sharp objects and these are puppies, so just be as careful as you can be. I like to use a 10 or a 15 on the outside of the ear, so I'm going to neaten that up real quick. I know, you're such a good girl. And of course, when working with puppies, patience is always a virtue. Yeah. But Maeve here is already shown to be such a good little rock star for her grooming. All right, and then I'm going to switch it over to a 30 for the inside of the ear. Get it really nice and tight and short, leaving a little bit of hair for when I re-glue these. And I like to use my clipper just to go right over the edge of the ear to get a really nice clean finish, clean line. Good girl, you're so good. Now I'm going to go from behind the ear, so I'm going to expose the bulb. As you can see, it mostly already is from what I did yesterday. And then come down to about 2 fingers above her breastbone. Just don't want to dive right into that pocket there, and you want to leave a little bit so that you can blend here with your shears. And then I come right up, going back down just to get that cowlick, and I shave from behind her cheek. You'll usually find a whisker nodule right here. From that whisker nodule, I go right up into the flue or right behind that canine right there. And then you shave right underneath the chin to the other side with the other canine. And that's where you leave your little goatee. You're not supposed to have a really crazy big beard. And now I'm just going to repeat that process on this side. Good girl. So now with the face, I like to get the top of my head done at this point. So I'm going to trim this to be a level top of the head, just like it's supposed to be. And usually what I like to do is from the brow, I'm going to put my hand over the top of the head to make sure that I don't take too much off and that I don't trim into my fall. And I'm just going to make sure that I hold my shears level and trim. Good girl. Good job. You're doing so good. Good job. I know, you're such a good baby. And then from there, I'm going to take my thinners and I'm going to trim to expose the corner of the eye. And blend back into my clipper work. Good girl. Now with these breeds and a lot of breeds that have falls, you want to be able to see the eye coming from the front. So you can still see her eye right there, but you don't want to be able to see it from above. So you don't want to pinch that area either. That's supposed to give them a bit of a leg up when they're hunting prey or going after anything, especially with these guys when they have to deal with larger prey or pests, to hide their expression and hide their eyes so that they can't guess their next move. Good girl. Here we go. And then as far as the cheeks area, the sides, I like to blend this forward, and I usually go up to right behind the dip that comes from the corner of the eye down. So really blending this whole area in and not being afraid to take that type, because if you don't, you're going to end up with what we call chipmunk cheeks, and you don't want that. Just makes their head look very round and too much hair and too heavy. So you want this to be really nice and smooth and level planes. And of course, we're a puppy, so we're not going for perfection. We're just getting used to all this stuff. Right, Maeve? Yeah. I can see right there how that's poking out. So I want to trim that so she has a nice rectangular shape to her face. Good job. You're such a good girl. Yeah. All right. Good baby. Yeah. She's such a good girl. I'm so proud of you, my little love. All right. I'm just cleaning up some of the stuff that I see sticking out that I don't want there. All right. Now from there, I'll also go ahead and neaten up the sides of her neck, just trimming off the excess and really making it basically like perpendicular to what I just clippered. So coming out, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just really trying to block her in at this point and get that extra hair off that I know I'm not going to be keeping. Good girl. Good girl. And you can also, I'll pull the ear forward, turn the head sideways, and just go right up to the stop where I just stopped the back of her head when I trimmed that. Good girl. Good baby. Now I'm going to show everybody how I trimmed your little butt and what we're going to do next. Good job. So now set to a 15. I'm going to go ahead and do her sanitary area like I would have yesterday. Just a diamond going out from the anus and making sure not to touch anything on the inside there. It is sensitive skin and you can scrape it or nick it, so you want to be very careful. Now, from the outside corner of each of the tail, I'm going to go out towards her cowlick, right towards the point of her rump, and then I'm going to go right down and expose that inner muscle thigh, that really nice, strong inner muscle thigh, just underneath of there. You can expose more or less of it as you go, but this for me is really the majority of what I want to see, because I also want to leave some room to create parallel lines on the inside of her legs. You don't want to pinch them. So you want to build really nice, strong rear. So having already pretty much blocked in the front, I'm going to block in the back and her top line now. For the top line, they need a level top line, and they are a 2/3, 1/3 breed. I'm going to stop just behind her, just in front of her ribs. I like to go about halfway and leave some room to kind of work this face here to really give a nice transition over the withers, because these guys are supposed to have a very nice sloping transition, and it gives a really beautiful elegance to their neck. One of the things that I like to do is I like to try and trim the hair with the direction of the growth. So because these guys are a wavy coated variety, generally speaking, we try to keep those waves. We try to keep that nice packed coat, or, you know, there's a lot of debate on how to properly say it. Some people use the word Marcel. I personally do, because I refer to the technique, not necessarily the way the coat is supposed to be. We help restore these waves and maintain these waves with the way that we take care of the coat. But you also have variations to this coat type. Some you have, which is called an Irish coat, that tends to be more loose and more open. And then you have something over to the side that can be a much curlier coat with a much tighter curl. And so it's just learning to work with these different variations, but to help really provide that nice, beautiful wave that this breed is really known for. From the croup up to the midpoint of the back is where I'm going to be setting her top line. And at this point, she is just so little that we are just trying to keep her nice and clean and keep conditioning this hair. Regularly trimming the hair is going to really help build strength. It's going to keep it healthy. It's going to keep those dead ends off, and it's just going to help condition the coat and keep it really nice and easier to work with than dealing with a coat that is not regularly maintained and has a lot of damage. So this is definitely the better route to go. I know, sweetie, what you doing? And I'm not against following this line right off over the sides of the tail to really set my lines and help me build a nice rear. So for the rear, I'm going to go ahead and from the point of rump, I'm going to trim nice and tight along that back leg so we can really show off that nice angulation. And so from here, and trying to keep her feet in the proper position, she's a puppy, so I do have to be patient if she's not really in the mood. But I generally try to expose right here to the bend of that leg. And then from there, this area I use to help build that angulation. Girl, you're okay. Good job. And I can also go ahead and set from the point of rump up into the croup. Really expose that nice rear angulation. Good job, baby girl. You're so good. 5 months old, and look how good you are. Oh, Mom is so proud. And of course, we can go ahead and get a lot of this off the back of the tail right off here. Fine, I know I tickled your tail. But this I always trim pretty tight on the back of the tail to really help it. If it, it just makes it look that much more forward and up on the top line, helping to avoid make them look like they have a low tail set. You want to make sure that you have a nice forward tail set. Good job. So now I'm going to go ahead and round these feet. These guys are supposed to have really nice column legs that set down into nice tight feet. They are like to look like they are up on toe. So I take the back of the pad, nice and tight, pretty much level, trim around the pads, level to the pad. And then once I place it down on the table, I comb the hair out. You're okay, baby. Good girl. Parallel on the sides of the feet. And then as I come around to the front, I set them perpendicular to get a really nice tight front of the foot to the nail, trimming nice and tight to the toenail. Shh, shh, shh. Hey, baby, you're okay. Same thing on the back foot. I'm going to comb all that down. Trim all the hair level to the pad of the foot. Set it down. And do the exact same thing. Level on the sides, angled on the front, tight to the nail. And level on the inside as well. Okay, you want a cookie? I'll get you a cookie. Now, as far as table safety goes, especially with my puppies, I'm using a grooming loop. It is not strung up. She has good release to it, but I also am using one of these attachments that helps just keep them from backing up or backing off the table and just keeps them really safe. And if there is any pressure on their neck, this actually will help take off the pressure on the bottom of the neck and move it over more toward the sides, which actually will not cut off any airflow. So I really recommend these if you can ever find them. There are a lot of different versions. This one is made by Adventure Hounds LLC. It's made out of a really nice material that lasts. And then I also have one over here, which was made by Love Groomers. Both worth their money in gold. And Adventure Hounds is a really wonderful small company owned by a wonderful couple And then, of course, Love Groomers is one of the best known distributors of products, as well as our tarot products and other products in the industry. Alrighty, so now that I have my front and rear, top line, and my feet blocked, and I can go ahead and start connecting some of these dots. So what I like to do is I like to start at the front. And for the front of the legs, you basically want to be able to draw a straight line from the ear right down into the toe. So when they're stacking up properly, you have a line right from here on the back of the ear, right down into the toe. And so I already trimmed off a good amount here, but I'm going to go ahead and tip this. Of course, always helps to look at it from the side. Good girl. Good job. All right. And now because I have the outside of my foot set too, I can do my outer shoulder. So I'm going to know exactly where to set this because it's going to go right into where I have my foot set. So either looking from in front of her or from behind her. Go ahead and just draw a straight line right down to the outside of her foot where I've set it. And then for the front legs, after I get the outside of the leg done, I'm going to go ahead and trim the inside. And I'm literally just going to trim so that it's parallel with what I just did from the outside of the leg, from the inside of the foot, right up into that armpit. And a little hack that I do for the front is I will actually set the arm back while they're standing. So comb all of this out and set the arm back, and you're going to see right where that leg aligns, and that's going to be right where their elbow, point of elbow is into the back. And that's going to help you give your line because you want your underline to meet the point of elbow to really show off that nice depth of chest. And so it's just like a nice little quick hack. And now for the back, because I'm going to leave this until the end because that's kind of how you feel and you're able to bring the front and the back of the dog together underneath, and closing up that space will give them the appearance of being shorter, which is what we like to go for in this breed. This is a breed that we like to be short back. So I'm going to go ahead and start by setting my hock. So picking it up and holding it in my hand, I can see where I set the outside of my foot, and I'm going to go ahead and trim right up to the hock. And now with that set, I'm going to then connect where I shaved from the inner thigh down to that line that I just made from the hock. And sometimes I like to use my chunkers at this point. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm able to kind of neaten up any areas where there's some extra hair sticking out. Now to set your hip area, these dogs are basically a wedge shape. Their hips are wider than their front. So you want to leave these guys a bit wider on the back end, but structurally they should be. She very much is. If you follow her body, your hands are going to go wider as you get back to her rear, and that's what you want. So we like to show that off as well with their grooming. I'm going to draw a straight line. There we go. To set my hock, I'm going to go ahead, lift her foot, and trim. She doesn't have a lot here, so I'm just really neatening this up. But usually I go from the point of the pad right up. And then I'm able to connect this nicely from the top of the hock up into the bend of the knee. So you can do it while it's sitting, or you can pick it up and draw a straight line. And when you're doing this, a great tip is to trim the hair down and trying to really show off that nice short hock. These guys are supposed to be really quick to action, really quick to just be able to like launch themselves and leap forward and go to action. And so having a nice short hock is part of what helps with that. Just trim that up into the body. Good girl. Okay. Now that we've got those areas done, I can go ahead and connect my shoulder into my hip, and I can create my underline. So again, the underline should come down to the point of the elbow. So that's going to give me my line. And these guys should have an ascending underline into their loin, but not like racy. You don't want to see like a tuck up like on a poodle. It should be gradual and right up into the loin. Good girl. And the way that I tend to shape their body is I think about their body being in an octagon, And I start from the bottom because of the way that their hair falls. I want to start from the bottom because then as the hair is trimmed, it's going to lift up because there's going to be less weight to it. So you can either do this with your straight or your curve, depending on what you like. I'm going to go ahead and just do my curve so we can save some time with her. And level from there and connecting the dot to the back. And now a really cool trick that I like to do is from here, I'm going to reverse my curves and go right back into the line that I set. And that's really going to help me set the contour of the body and the profile of this trim. While not having any really harsh lines, harsh scissor marks. Good girl. And then I can go ahead and start moving this forward to where I want it. Moving her neck, I mean. And now, to connect the neck into the withers, I'm going to go ahead and from the back of her head, pulling her ear forward to make sure it's safe and out of the way. I'm going to connect this right down into her withers. And a really nice trick is you can hold their head back and you can trim this straight line right here. But that doesn't seem like it's happening today, so we're just going to neaten this up right now. Right up to the back of her occiput, not leaving a huge much there because I don't want it to look like she has a longer head than she actually does because it's really nice and proportionate. Good girl. Alrighty, guys. So I went ahead and did her other side because we were running out of puppy patience time. So we're going to go ahead and just finish tidying up the inside of these legs. Like I mentioned, we like to have them nice and balanced. So you want your front leg to match your back leg in volume. And so I always like to leave this hair here because it's the most important. It's the filling hair that's going to really help set that square shape and really help set your column legs. So I'm just going to go ahead and neaten those up right into my foot. Is it tickle? Oh my goodness. Yeah, our puppy timer's running out, isn't it? I got some chews that we're going to get after this, and you're going to be so happy. All right, baby girl. Well, now we can go ahead and trim your tail. I like to hold the tail up when I trim it. Take it tight on the sides, tight on the back, and then use this as a way to balance it into the body. And also, again, to have that look of a really nice and forward tail. When you build more hair here, you're again closing up space between the neck, with the crest of the neck and the top of the tail. Always little things to stay mindful of for grooming to really make sure that you're setting your dog up for success and that you're styling them to the best of your capabilities to really show them off in the ring. Let's trim this fuzzy area up, huh? Good girl. Oh, isn't she so pretty? You're so silly. Good girl. Alrighty, I think that is about as much as I want to push her to do because we've had a really good experience and we are looking very beautiful. Good job. Good job, Maeve. All right, guys. So that is our video for today. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and Maeve. I'm sure we'll have plenty more to come as she's growing. It's going to be really fun to watch this coat grow. Gonna go through coat change, which is always a nightmare, but I am looking forward to documenting it all on here and sharing my experience in living with my first Kerry. I'm really excited. I've worked with this breed for many years now, basically a decade, and I'm just so thrilled that I had the opportunity to bring one home. She fits so well into our house, and I'm just really looking forward to our future together, especially in the show ring and doing some fun stuff. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and make sure to subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, and stay tuned for our next video. Thanks, guys.